The no crowds felt like a school swimming carnival. I'm sitting down for breakfast and I'm having 33 Weetbix. As in, like,
Going across to the enhanced games.
if you want to do your own silo, sure. I think it's a horrendous example for kids and up and coming athletes.
Really
I remember the
ballsy.
feeling of my foot not going up and being like, okay, I'm committing now.
Ballsy, mate.
Almost instantly our house was broken into back in Australia. Everyone was overseas. We had like shards of glass put in the backyard pool, bags of cement. So like when you put your hand into the filter, you cut it out.
All right, Dos, we're very excited today and we're very lucky because it's not every day. In fact, it's the first time ever in the dos&d history that we have an Olympic gold medalist. Mack Horton, welcome to the dos&d show.
Whoa, how's that? Thank you for having me. Big round of applause.
Bit of a surprise for you there,
Yeah,
mate.
shocked.
Mate, how are you going? I mean, life for you is very different. You're in the corporate world.
Clearly.
You're not in a lifeguard, you know.
No,
outfit. No.
come straight from work. It's I don't know, it's good. I'm enjoying it a lot. I mean, I retired 18-ish months ago, started 2024. And it's, I don't know, it's fun trying to understand a new process because not that swimming gets easy or sport gets easy, but you figure out the process. You train hard, you rest well, you sleep well. You figure out the mindsets you need to be in and when. And the working world is just completely different. Yeah.
That's a good point.
You're still in phenomenal nick. So are you still hitting the pool, or what's it like now when you get in a pool? Can you go for a casual swim?
I still swim once or twice a week. I'll go in and swim with my old squad here just down the road at MSAC. I struggle by myself. I need someone to tell me what to do.
Yep.
Because that's all I've known for 17 years. And then it's just like gym and cycling and running and whatever else I can do. But there's like this weird period where you have to almost forget what good swimming feels like because you have to swim 10 times a week to feel good in the water. And now I get in, I feel horrendous. So I've been trying to forget what it used to feel like and just enjoy it for whatever it is now. What's
been the, have you come across any challenges so far with the transition? Maybe routine-wise or mentally or just the new life?
I think that like the first 6 months establishing a new routine and where things fit in is tricky. Like when you're training, swimming and exercise is always just the priority. And it's like, okay, well, my day has spilled, so maybe I can't exercise today. And my brain just could not compute that for ages. I was like, I must exercise every single day, otherwise I'm a piece of crap.
Yeah. Is that what your coach used to say to you? Yeah.
No. It's just, you just get that feeling ingrained in you over years. And then I guess it's like dealing with people in the workplace. Like in sport, everyone around you, your coach, your sports physiology, biomech, gym coach, whatever, they're all there to get the best out of you and make you better. And that's just not the case in the real world. And you don't have that much exposure to that when you're in high performance sport because you go to the pool, you go home and sleep, and then you travel in a team. And so everyone you surround yourself with is there for you. And then you leave and it's like, well, everyone's just running their own race.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, we haven't done this before, but we wanted to do this quite early in the episode. Sammy, I want you to get up straight away for the viewers and listeners. And Mac, if you haven't watched this in the last 24 hours, we're going to take you back to 2016. And
Dee's gone straight to it.
Actually starts playing every 12 hours on the dot,
okay,
just
good.
automatic.
Okay, well, good. We just in case you forgot. The race, the Olympic.
Maybe not do the whole 3.5 minutes. Maybe
we're going to ease everyone into this in case you've been living under a rock. We just want to watch, we want to have a look at Mac's reaction and just, and really reminisce on this. I mean, in all seriousness, it's such a big moment in Australian sport and history. So
I think it's a couple of $100 a second to the IOC, by the way.
Oh, no. Jeez, I don't think we have that budget.
No, you certainly don't.
Where are we? 200 meters.
Rio.
I've barely watched this, to be honest.
Really?
Does it feel weird watching it? Like,
oh, it's highlights. Jumps through. There we go.
Horton's winning time, 3 minutes 41.5.
I remember the
Those highlights.
the last 50 just being so buggered, and then your eyes almost like roll into the back of your head, and I was just like gasping for as much air as I could. And when I touched that wall going on that lane rope, I've never gasped for more air in my life. Like, it was ridiculous.
Can you? I mean, I know it's hard. again, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and we're going back 9 years now. But I'd love to just break that day down into moments because, I mean, how we all kind of remember it as fans or as followers or as just Australians supporters. It's different to what your day would have looked like. So you talked about gasping for air, but going into a race like that, what are your recollections of that day?
Well, you have the heat in the morning. So I reckon for me it almost starts like the night before because you pack your bag, you lay everything out, make sure it's all sorted, test fit the goggles, probably do like a clipper of your legs and get all the hair off. Clipper but not shave.
Right.
Because you want to save the shave for the pre-final, like just before the final. So clipper, probably put on like a compression, leggings and whatever if you're not feeling so fresh, have your last little swim. And then it's just about staying as calm as you can so that you can actually sleep that night. And it's such a weird experience getting into bed and being like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and race the Olympics. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, okay, we're here. And then, you just kind of go through the process of going to the pool, warming up, all that sort of stuff for the heat. The heat you almost want to get through with as little energy as possible just so that you have, stuff in the tank for the final. And so it's almost just like a box ticking exercise through the morning. You're just like, I got to do that as a job, knock it all off. And then I remember that day going back to the village. I reckon I had about 3 hours of like downtime with the lights off in bed. And I was like, I'm going to try and sleep as much as I can. I don't think I slept very much, but I remember in my head just saying over and over, you can do this, you got this, like literally for 3 hours straight. And then it's also it's that weird feeling again where you're like, I'm getting into bed now, and when I get out, I'm going to be racing an Olympic final. It's just like, I don't know, the bed feels funny for some reason. Like it's such a surreal experience. Get up, and then because we were racing at, must have been like 1 a.m. or midnight local time in Rio because it was set up for US broadcasting. We were like all out of whack and all out of time zone. So you go and have dinner and there's no one there. We had like these glasses you'd put on that would simulate sunlight to try and like wake up your circadian rhythm.
Bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like there's a lot of things we were trying to do to get the most out of whatever the situation was. And then it's like the final shower, shave, you start to feel pretty fresh and good and energized because you're like warming your body up in the shower. Get to the pool, go through your stretching routine, your pre-race routine in the pool. And I remember my coach at the time was like kind of a nervous guy, a bit of an anxious guy. And we were doing like race pace, checking my race pace, and he was the most calm I've ever seen him in my life. And I was like, he believes. I was like, I believe now. And I just remember that moment so vividly going, we're actually doing this. And then you go through the motions, your routine's pretty dialed in. Like the moment you get out of the pool to standing behind the blocks, you want that under like 20, 15 minutes. Like it's a pretty tight turnaround. You got to put your racing suit on in between, go through marshalling, they check your racing suit, they check your cap, they check your goggles. And then from that point, it's just all a blur, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I remember hearing the roar for maybe the race prior, because you kind of like sit underneath the grandstand, and I think a Brazilian was swimming. And so the crowd was going wild. And then the next thing I remember well enough to recall is like the weight of the medal on my neck at the podium. Like,
wow.
You just kind of press go because it's something you've rehearsed over and over so many times. And obviously the scale and the pressure is magnified, but it's still the same race and same routine.
It sounds like, again, and we use the word routine there, and I mean, none of us will ever know that feeling of what you're going through.
Definitely not.
No, definitely not. Maybe against each other one day. But I'm trying to put myself in your shoes when you're racing, and it's such an individualized sport, like you said. How aware are you of where you are in the race in terms of where you currently are? If you've got to make time and someone's ahead of you, is there anything you can actually do to try and speed yourself up or slow yourself down, or is it just routine? You back yourself in that your system will get you to the result your desired result.
A bit of both. Like if I had to pivot during the race, I could. There's always a few more gears, particularly in a 400, which is a longer event. But that race plan from Rio was something we rehearsed like 15, 20 times in the season leading up, and it's something you practice and visualize every day in training. You have access to so much data that you can look at how every other competitor splits their race, where generally people are slower, where generally people are faster. And so we figured out that the third 100 is where everyone pulls off because they want to get ready for that last 100 where they're going to push. And so we're just going to hammer the third 100 and break people. And so when you're doing training sets, whenever you get into that third quarter, that's when you just absolutely hammer it to experience whatever the fourth quarter is going to feel like. And so going into that race, I can't remember where I was at 200 meters, like 5th or 6th or something, but I was comfortable there because I knew this next 100 is where we try and break everyone.
But do you know your 5th or 6th? I know it might be a dumb question, but
yeah, you do. And I would have a punt of where I'm at, and you can kind of see where everyone's at. And then you also have this just like weird awareness for the pool, which I guess you just pick up over time. But yeah, still at the 200 meter mark, wherever I was calm. It was like, this is the plan. If I'm hurting now, everyone else is also going to be hurting a lot. So let's see who can hurt the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you reckon, so you're 20 years old at the time, would you, if you were to choose to do it at 20 or to do it at, say, 29, would you still choose the 20? Or do you feel like now, no, I'm more meaning because you're at an age now where you probably, you're so young. Like how do you, I try and picture being so young, achieving something so monumental. Did you actually understand how huge that is? I know that might sound a bit silly, but 20 years old is a baby.
Yeah. I think I'd probably still choose to do it at 20 because there's almost like an advantage in how naive you are as a 20-year-old. I remember going, like I qualified at the trials a couple of months earlier. And in my head, I was just like, oh, I'm an Australian swimmer. We go to the Olympics and we win medals because that's what we've always done.
That's what Aussies do.
And so the expectation in my mind was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to win a medal. Whereas as you get older and you have that experience, you have an experience of another Olympics, you realize actually how hard and monumental it is. So yeah, 20 every day.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think I was saying
Probably a shit question, actually.
No, I was saying to you earlier. I remember hearing you being interviewed a lot before those Olympics, just radio stations in Melbourne and things like that. And you sounded, at the time, so ultra confident. And I mean that.
Cocky.
Not necessarily cocky, but it was like refreshing, right? And I don't know if it's a naive. When I say naive, there's no right or wrong, but it's the opposite of what you're used to hearing from athletes. That I'm going to go and give it my best. It sounded like the way you were talking is, I'm going to go and win this thing. Like,
Yeah.
do you recall that kind of feeling or attitude?
I remember whenever I did media, it was always never say what you want the result to be. And so I guess the confidence came through in like another way. But I remember having a very conscious thought of never being like, I'm going to win gold or I want to win gold or whatever, because that gets you in strife down the line.
Yeah.
But I just always had, I think, like a deep belief in what I thought I was capable of physically. And that is what I thought I was capable of physically. Like so much of swimming and I guess Olympic sport, because it's only once every 4 years, is making sure that you can get whatever you think you're capable of out on the day, which is the challenge. Because like if you were to compare training logs for 4 years, it'd probably be different gold medalists or whatever across every sport. But it's actually just making sure that you believe A, what you're capable of, and B, that you can get it out when it matters.
How's this would be a question you probably get asked a heap. Well, it's night one. So you get to kick it off. You win gold first night. The momentum is for the rest of the nation is brought by you. But the celebrations, I mean, what happens? Like, because everyone else has to keep, the rest of the Aussie camp have to compete.
Yeah, and I still had a 4x2 relay and a 1,500 metre swim that week. So afterwards I did 2 hours of media. That probably took me to about 2 or 3 a.m. My parents and now wife hung around in the grandstands, so I got to see them for a hug. There was no one else in the stadium. That was pretty special. And then you go back to the village, have dinner, tuck yourself into bed, have a sleep in the morning, and then go for a swim in the Arvo to get ready for whatever the next thing is. Like,
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. You hand over your medal, they put it in a safe because you don't want to have to hang on to it throughout the week. So you just kind of forget about it, put it away.
Is it come down real after the Olympics? So when you come back home and eventually, like you probably hear it more from athletes that don't get the desired result, but there's this big, like you said, it's every 4 years you work, it's the pinnacle of the sport, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And it's 4 years until the next one. And I know you've won gold medals at Commonwealth Games and things like that, but it doesn't quite compare to the Olympics. So what's that feeling like if you experience that come down?
I think it happens at both ends, like if you've had a great success or if you haven't achieved whatever you want to achieve. But it's real, like it exists. Maybe you remember like going on a school camp for a week or something, and then you go home and you miss hanging out with all your friends and you miss that routine. Imagine that, but with 40 swimmers and managers and whatever, but you've been traveling for 2 months together and you've had experiences that no one's ever going to have again.
Yeah.
So there's that element, but then also the what is next element. Like even if you've achieved Olympic gold, you're still like, okay, well, what is next? Because that's what I've been thinking about my entire life. And if you haven't had the outcome that you want, it's still what's next. It's like, okay, what can I fix? What can I improve? How do I refocus? And so I reckon that year after the Olympics was the year I liked swimming the least. I was just like, I just kind of went through the motions and the process, but I didn't have the buy-in that I'd had every other year. But for me, it's different for everyone, but for me, I almost had to just like force myself through that process to rediscover the love and then be like, I remember that I love to be curious about this element of my stroke or this part of training. And it slowly comes back. But yeah, it's a real thing.
Heard you say pressure is a privilege.
Yeah. Classic line.
It's a classic. I know it's not yours, but like it does seem that way, especially in particular swimming. Like for Australia, there's so much pressure on our swimmers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a privilege because it means people care. It means you care. It means there's value in whatever you're trying to achieve. I think swimming in particular is like in the media spotlight a lot, and that's thanks to all the legends who have done so well for Australia. But I think like just generally Olympic sport, because of the nature of it being once every 4 years, it is like one of the biggest pressure cookers you can probably ever experience or ever compete in.
We'll be right back to this episode with Mack Horton in just a second. But right now, Dos, you're swimming.
Yeah, bit of breaststroke.
Yeah, what about a bit of butterfly for us? Yeah, lovely. There's a backstroke. Yeah.
I've always hated backstroke.
Not quite as good as the Mack the knife over here, but we need to say a big thank you to our friends at Fleet Plan Hire Solutions. Now, Dos, Mack, he's travelled the world swimming in the biggest events, the Olympics, none bigger than that. And these pools don't just come out of the ground, do they?
No. Someone has to bloody make them, don't
And
they?
who are the types of people that make them?
Well, these guys, Fleet Plan
Yes.
Hire. Everything you need to, I guess, put a big project like a bloody Olympic swimming pool together. Imagine all of this, how it gets done. You're thinking trucks, fleet hire, some excavators, some big diggers, plenty of men on the work site who are using all these machines as well.
Yes.
And plenty of compliance.
Absolutely. That's the nasty part, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that, do you?
No, the thing with Fleet though as well is they're known as, I guess, the middleman. So
Yes.
if you are doing a job or you might have a business or you're a subcontractor, you can actually go and get in contact with Fleet and use a lot of their equipment rather than buying your own.
100%. You don't even need to be making an Olympic-sized swimming pool either. It could just be the little job in your backyard. They will help you out. So visit fph.com.au right now, and we'll get back into the episode with Mack Horton. So again, we've had the privilege of talking to Olympians before, and it's always interesting hearing in their individualised sport the financial side of things.
Yeah.
And again, some people just assume well, everyone has their own assumptions of what it looks like. So what are your recollections from being a kid and then at some stage finding out how good you really are and what potential you may have, and then the funding side of it all? Because I used a word for Dos and I earlier about selling out. Now, I hope it's not the same thing, because we may have had to do that once or twice.
I avoided it at all costs. I've been lucky and very fortunate to... I never had to work when I was swimming. I had a family that were able to support me up until the point that I could support myself. But when I say supporting myself, it's like funding the swimming. You know, you're not coming out with a net gain.
You're not putting 10 grand away a year just
No.
thanks to mum and dad.
What does it look like? So for those that don't know, when you say what does the funding look like?
So there's some government funding, but that's capped based on whatever you're earning. So it's like means tested. The biggest source is probably sponsorship. So I was lucky to have a couple of big sponsors while I was swimming in Speedo and Optus. But that also means that it caps out whatever your government funding is, because it's like if you earn over 80 grand, then they start carving out a percent. And then in terms of like daily training environment, your coach, gym coach, sometimes some of your physio, those sorts of things will be paid for. There's like a system in Australia where you're categorized or tiered. And so if you're category 1, you get like one physio's, don't know exactly, but it's like one physio session a week, and they pay for half your massage, and you get a gym coach and a swim coach essentially.
Right.
And then as you go down, that shifts. Like some people will pay for their own physio, will pay for their own massage. So it's pretty gnarly. And then I think if you're an athlete that is on the cusp of making the swim team and maybe unlocking the next category, it's a gamble. It's like, do I work so that I can keep going, or do I not work so that maybe I can swim a little bit faster and have that breakthrough moment to then continue to not work? So yeah, it's genuinely pretty tough. I reckon when I was swimming, there might have been 5 or 6 swimmers that were like able to support themselves. Everyone else had to either work or lean on family or whatever else they had to do.
I was going to ask, is there anyone that sticks out that actually had to work and that eventually got to that next status?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, good.
But people definitely
Yeah.
had to, like, generally lifeguarding is the job, and then you just spend all day at the pool. Like they will swim in the morning, lifeguard during the day, and then just get back in the pool. And it's like, that is brutal.
Yeah.
It's so brutal because for me, as someone that wasn't working, I'd go home and sleep 2.5 hours and have a feast and like, yeah.
Actually, that's a good kind of segue. How many calories are you burning like a day, calories wise?
I don't actually know, which sounds silly. I mean,
You're killing me here, Mac.
I used to wear like a little heart rate thing that clipped onto my bathers, so that would give you like a rough indication of calories, and then I'd wear a watch in the gym and whatever. And I think some days it was like 6,000, 7,000 active calories.
Wow.
But that doesn't include everything outside of that 5 hours.
Yeah,
So,
just everyday living.
yeah.
Because you saw, remember like the whole Michael Phelps diet thing. You know how many calories?
I don't believe he ate that much.
Yeah, it was
What
like
did-
10.
what was he
He
saying?
was like eating 10. Can you look that up, Sammy? I think he was
It's
eating
like
close to.
pizzas, pancakes.
I think it was close to like 10,000 calories a day. I might be making that up actually, but it was like the most American diet you can imagine, calorie central. But because he was burning X amount, he could eat it, and he was, the best.
I reckon someone picked up like this is what he eats in a week, and they've just gone,
Oh, what have we got? During his peak training, Michael Phelps reportedly consumed between 8 and 10,000 calories per day. This was higher than the average adult male committed intake and was fueled by his intense training. So, rumors of 12,000 calorie diet circulated. So, geez, that's a lot.
Well, what were you eating? What were you eating then?
I just
typically?
remember from like the age of 15 until probably 22, every meal I would just eat until I was uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah.
Until you're bloated. Yeah.
Like till it hurt.
yeah.
Dinners I would eat and just lay on the couch and just,
Coma.
yeah. Because that's what
Christmas
you had to
dinner.
do. You just had to get so much in. When I was at school,
Amazing.
Weetbix was my breakfast of choice.
Yeah, good man.
Tried for the Weetbix sponsorship for years, never happened.
Never happened.
Oh, really?
But I had,
Mate, you're the Australian golden boy. How does that work?
who knows? 9. I used to have 9 before I went to training, and then in the car,
Bryce is like,
in the car on the way to school, I would have 16 in like a mixing bowl with a lid on it, and I'd just pour a litre of milk on it, and that was my breakfast.
wow. He loves his Weetbix.
Yeah, I'm not eating 16 though. That's insane.
My best in one sitting was 33.
Sitting.
As in, like, I'm sitting down for breakfast,
Breakfast.
and I'm having 33 Weetbix.
Is that a box or is that less?
No, you
Or is
get
that more than a box?
There's
72,
12
mate,
in a
72.
box. 12, so 12 in a row.
Yeah.
So a couple of rows, yeah.
That's insanity.
Wow. I'd love to see a Weetbix eating comp between you two.
I don't have 33 in me. I was impressed at 9, but 33.
Yeah.
Jeepers. I go about 6, but I mean, just quickly before we move on. So, because it's an interesting thing, you hear this story a lot. Like, how much wasted talent do you think there would be out there due to the fact that people just simply can't get funded to go and? I mean, you look at sports or team sports. You look at the AFL system and. Obviously, lists are a lot bigger. You don't have to be the 1.1% in your sport you do. Do you think there's many people, in not just swimming, but all Olympic sports that purely don't get there just because of funding?
I think it probably has more of an impact on other Olympic sports. I think because so many people swim in Australia, we have like eyes everywhere looking for talent. So I have faith that the system will like pick up a talent. I think more so the decider is like you are born into Australia as a country that can support you, into a family that can support you and understand what it's going to take, and they're willing to make the sacrifices required to get you there. Because I think the system will step in and help get talent to a point. It's not going to be the perfect point, or probably a point far enough down the line that they don't have to work or don't have to support themselves, but it will point them in a direction.
So you mentioned, I mean, you just use identifying talent. So again, I mean, I know it's a sport based on numbers and speed, but what was seen in you that had you above everybody else? Is it purely just how fast you are, or is there something else? Is there some kind of genetics, or like? What makes an Olympic gold medalist compared to someone that doesn't, clearly?
I think there's a lot of different ways to cut the equation in swimming, but for me it was always, I think, like my feel for the water.
Okay.
And a coach spotted that at a very young age, like maybe 12 or 13, saw that, hey, this guy understands water and how to hold it and how to move his body through it, and is receptive to direction and coaching, because swimming is so technical that you have to be like constantly hyper aware of where every part of your body is, and so yeah, that was it for me. But then you also have to like have a very solid work ethic, be a bit competitive. Like you have to have this perfect mix of. You see people with amazing talent, but they're not competitive, or they don't have the work ethic, and they're not going to make it. So you need like the perfect mix of all those elements to be able to cut through.
When you're comparing it with, say, team sports, I instantly go to how a footy team, we follow AFL, you go for the Ds. I'm a doggies man, right? The doggies have had a couple of bad weeks, but they've got next week. Like they have next week, you know, and the coach is under pressure for a few days, but if they perform well, you know, they're out of the furnace. In your case, you work your ass off to one, qualify and get to, say, a final, and it's the technique, and it's one missed, I can't stroke. The terminologies aren't quite on the top of my dome, but that's got to be something that plays with your mind a lot.
I think I don't know. I'm used to it because it's all I've known.
Yeah.
But I also think that that's the beauty of swimming, is that it's so clear cut. Like to qualify for the team, you have to be first or second in the country. That's it. Like it's not subjective. You got to do a time. You got to be first or second. And that's why it's so fun. And then I think the other element is that like footy teams, whatever, are playing every single week, but you as a Olympic athlete, you're training every single week, and you have like key sessions and your week's similarly structured. So sometimes you might have a bad week, but then it's like, okay, well, we get next week to go again. So it's not in the public forum or the public eye, but that chance to fix and tweak still happens in the process and the way you train.
Are you again? We had this conversation with a runner, and they were talking about the team element of an individualized sport and what really goes on. So they all have to play up to the cameras and go, "Oh, we're all friends, we all love each other." But like you said, there might be one or two spots. So going behind the scenes, what's it really like? Are you mates with one another? What's it like in the swimming community?
We're all friends and we love each other.
Yeah. Is that the media answer?
Wow, that was quick.
No. It's in the events I raced, I was friends with everyone I raced against. And you kind of, for the Olympics or Australian swimming trials, you put up a bit of a curtain, you'll like have pleasantries. The team will be decided based on how you swim. And then once you're on the same team, it's like, all right, we're mates again. And that's just like, I think, an easier thing for people to deal with rather than like standing behind the blocks and having a joke with a mate. Like you just lock into your own process. But you also, every year there's training camps where they put, every 400 swimmers together for a week and you all train together and get to know each other pretty bloody well because you're pushing each other to the edge. And so it's almost hard to not become friends through that process because you experience like such extreme circumstances that not many people get to experience. Like you have to be friends to like get through it.
Mm. When it comes to coaching, I don't want to refer to other sports too much, but it can be brutal the way some coaches coach. And you hear the term spray or, coach gets angry or a way to fire up. Like, how does a coach inspire a swimmer, like in terms of during the week, but then on race day? What's the typical, method when it comes to trying to get you ready, not just like technically, but then motivation wise?
I think it's different for every swimmer. Like some athletes want a pep talk, or they just want their coach to believe that they can win or whatever it is. I copped a few sprays early on when I was like 14, 15 because I wasn't that competitive and not that driven by a spray. So I wasn't actually doing anything. Like, just tell me what to do and I'll, try and do it as best as I can. But you don't need to like fire me up or recreate or manufacture this competition. So yeah, I think every athlete has like a different key almost to unlock how they motivate. But there's the common denominator is like a deep internal motivation to be able to get the best out of yourself, because particularly for me anyway, the whole thing was like, how good can I myself be? I cared less about winning medals or beating people. It was just like, if I'm the best athlete, the best version of myself, then everything will take care of itself.
Love it. So again, I mean, I'm sure you knew we were going to have to ask about the podium protest.
I was actually waiting for him when we said off limits. I thought he was going to say, "Don't mention this."
Well, again,
it's everywhere. Well, there's no hiding from it.
Well, again, it's just. I mean, it's obviously it's a monumental moment, obviously, and it'll obviously forever be remembered. But again, your thoughts leading up to that race, and was it a planned thing? Was it a spontaneous thing? And maybe for those that don't know, explain kind of what happened.
Yeah. So I was racing this guy called Sung Yang. I raced him for many years throughout my career. 2016, he'd tested positive to something, served a backdated ban for 3 months, so never actually had any time out of the pool. 2019 World Championships, it came out prior that he'd smashed a blood vial with a hammer. And in the anti-doping world, it's essentially like if you don't provide a test, you are guilty, presumed guilty. So if you miss a test, whatever, guilty, and you're guilty until you can prove your innocence. So it's the opposite of like normal law. And so smashing a blood vial after they've taken it is like, that's not great.
Yeah.
anyway, it was kept pretty quiet for a period of time, finally broke in the media. It was under investigation, but he was still allowed to swim at the World Champs. I wasn't stoked about it. A lot of other people weren't stoked about it because, you know, we're all trying to abide by these global rules, except for this one exception. The act, or my protest itself, was on the medal dice. So he won the gold, I won the silver, and I just didn't want to share a podium with him. And I think it probably stemmed from someone saying, oh, like, it's outrageous, you have to swim against him, or you don't want to share it. Like, why do you have to share a pool with him? And then I reckon that planted a seed in my brain. It was like, I won't share a podium with him. So I think it was like 50-50 premeditated and spontaneous. I remember having the thought of what I might do, but not actually deciding to do it until I was there. I even tried to get there was an Italian swimmer who came third. I tried to convince him to do it with me as well, because I was like, this would be a really powerful moment if we did it together. And he didn't want to, but that's totally fine. It's a crazy thing to do. So anyway, didn't stand on the podium out of protest. Still got presented my medal. It was incredibly awkward in the stadium because no one really knew what was going on. And then went crazy. Woke up the next morning with 750,000 hate comments on one post.
Well, click play, Sammy. We'll relive it. Here it is.
That bit was a bit awkward because usually you stand on the top dais together, put your arms around each other, and I just had to stand there like...
Yeah. Ballsy, mate.
Yeah.
Really
I remember the
ballsy.
feeling of my foot not going up. I mean, like, okay, I'm committing now. Like, both feet staying on the ground behind the dais, and it was like, okay, well, I haven't moved, so I can't move now.
So you all walk off. Where do you go now? And is it all in separate directions, or do you still have to spend a bit of time out the back together?
There's like a room behind there. It's like almost a ready room where you've left your bag and your towel and whatever. So we're probably all in. I don't remember it that well. But you're all in there, and then that's at the far end of the pool. So you would have to walk down, a 70-meter hallway to get back to the other end. And then they run you through the mix zone, like all the media. So it's another 45 minutes or so as well. So
Have you ever spoken to him since?
No.
No, fair enough. So nothing was said he didn't
No,
approach you.
not that I remember.
Yeah.
No.
And you said about waking up, 750,000, did you say?
750,000 comments, which...
It's insanity.
And then on your Instagram, like DMs, when it gets to 100, it was saying 99 plus. And I would click it, clear it, refresh it, and it would instantly go to 99 plus again. Like, people were just peppering me.
Is it pure hate, or was the Australian community behind you?
No, it was pure hate.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like, there would have been some comments from Australians being like positive.
Yeah.
But 99.9% of it was just hate.
Do you, in all seriousness, I mean, again, we're now talking about a global sport, not a localized sport. Do you actually have safety concerns or fears? Or did you take anything serious when you've got that much hate coming at you, especially from a passionate country as well? Like, are you worried about any of that or not?
I wasn't during the week, but afterwards for sure. So that was night one. I got to the last night, which was the 1500. Swam my last race, went and sat in the grandstands, and I was sitting next to a team manager, and they said, we almost had to send you home because we couldn't look after you this week. But you've had like security on you all week. We've had security on the team and the building. And I look up behind me at the grandstands, like two guys there, armed guys, and I'm like, oh, they do look familiar. Like, they've just been following me all week. And I had no idea, because you're just like, you're locked into the process and what you need to do. And then we got back to the building in the village, and there's a couple of guys standing out the front with guns as well. I was like, the other buildings don't have that. So it was, intense.
What was your family like in all of that for them? What was it like for your family throughout all that as well? Like, you were copying it. Some people online put two and two together, and they.
My family were copying it as well. I think I'm intentionally sheltered by everything that went on and goes on.
Yeah.
But like, almost instantly our house was broken into back in Australia. Everyone was overseas. We had like shards of glass put in the backyard pool, bags of cement. So like when you put your hand into the filter, you cut it up.
That is that is insane.
Yeah. I don't know, lots of different things over the years. I used to have a Land Rover Defender, which is like a boxy car with all the bolts on the outside. Good. We love them. And I got in one day and all the seatbelts had been undone because you can just access them from the outside. I don't know. There's lots of stories. You get followed sometimes. People.
Mate, you're so laid back. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Literally,
I can't believe it. You're just saying it with so nonchalant.
Well, I've been living with it for
I
6 years.
I know.
It's like,
does it still come up? Do you still get hate from it, or is it blown over? Or is it occasionally you get?
Occasionally it'll fire up again. And like the harassment still goes on a little bit. Like I went to the market the other day with the family and people just follow you and take photos and really obviously like it's
Wait,
quite
is it
bad.
positive or negative? Is it negative?
Negative.
You're kidding.
Like not like, hey, how you going? Great to meet you. Like standing there at the front of a shop with the camera up waiting for you to walk out so they can take photos and put it wherever they put it. Yeah.
That's actually shocking.
I know. It's nuts. Well, going across to the enhanced games.
They're probably coming for you now. Now that we've talked about it.
Yeah.
You're probably going to cop hate.
Bring him on.
Fantastic.
Well, we had Jeff Horn do the show a while ago, and he boxed Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and I don't think the TikTok world agree with the result. And so we have a lot of comments from the Philippines every single day still. And that interview was years ago. So
It's good for the algorithm. As well.
yeah.
It's actually going on. At
I
the
know,
moment.
that's why I brought it up. I checked
Yeah.
before, and it was the old
'Cause
99 plus again. It was all that video. Anyway.
Just going across to the enhanced games. So I'd love to hear your point of view or your opinion on this, new project as well.
I obviously love it.
Yeah.
You're going to make a return.
No. I think I'm all for breaking the status quo, and I think they're fine to go and do that if that's what they want to do. I just don't think you can compare it. Like you can't come and say, "Oh, we've broken the world record," when you're taking drugs and wearing a super suit. Like maybe I put fins on and I go, "Oh, I've broken the world record." Like what's the difference? But you can have your own. If you want to do your own silo, sure. I think it's a horrendous example for kids and up and coming athletes, but people push the limits everywhere all the time. Yeah. I don't know that's worth the paycheck.
Does your opinion has your opinion changed of certain maybe Australian athletes that have gone and competed in it?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. What about you?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I just don't he was chasing $1 million or whatever to break the world record. Didn't break the world record. It's like, is whatever damage you do to your career and your reputation worth the potential $1 million? Probably not. Yeah. You could make way more doing good things, I think.
Do you have especially when you're competing, do you know, did you have, not just obviously that example we talked about earlier, but is there other guys or girls that you're aware of that were, say, pushing boundaries illegally? So not pushing boundaries.
Nothing I was aware of, but I always had I think my view was always very black and white.
Yeah.
Like if something had happened, they'd done their time, great, we've followed the right process, but I was still very black and white.
But if that's not stamped out, do you see it being fully stamped out in time, or do you think it's just always going to be one of those lingering?
I hope it's stamped out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're not going the right direction right now for it to be stamped out. Sure. There were 23 swimmers from the same nation that tested positive last year on the same camp. It's like, how is that happening, and how are we just playing on?
And what was it? Sorry, now this is clearly a question that we definitely haven't thought about because I'm going to articulate it really poorly.
I can't wait.
But wasn't there a whole controversy around the actual suits, the swimsuits?
Oh, yeah. This was in, for the enhanced games or swimming in general? Yeah, so 2009 World Champs was the last World Champs. They had the super suits, which is like the full leg. You could have shoulders or arms. Or
So what
whatever.
does it, just for us being naive, what does that, how does it enhance? What does it do?
Well, what are we? My maths isn't good. 2009, 2019, plus 6 years, 16 years. It is end of day. I'm going to say that,
I know.
Yeah.
16 years, and we're only just catching the world records that were set by those super suits.
Yeah.
So I never got to race in one. I don't know exactly how much of a difference it makes, but there's speculation of like half a second a lap or some crazy metric like that. But essentially it's just like more buoyancy, so you can sit higher in the water, drag less through the water. And then the material that they have is like similar to the material we have now, where it just repels the water. Like if you were to pour water over yourself, it would just run straight off.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it's just having more of it across your entire body that created the lift. And yeah, it was like having an extra skin.
Sure.
Can you maybe speak a bit about how fast your career goes? Because you laugh after every question.
They're funny questions.
You make me feel funny. But
I won't laugh after the next one.
but you know, it must just go like that. You know, and I know you probably plan and you get ready for that next stage. But do you feel like you were in the moment enough and enjoyed it enough, or have any regrets about not enjoying it enough?
I think I was always super aware of how fast it goes, and I tried to make a conscious effort of like, this is only going to last for so long, so enjoy even the crappy moments. But it still goes really fast. I think particularly towards the end of my career, because it was during COVID. Like I retired start of 2024, so that like last 4 years from COVID till then just absolutely flew by and is a blur. And I still, like, if I'm talking to a group of swimmers, up and coming swimmers, whatever, my piece of advice is always like, just enjoy every single moment, because like, how often is your biggest stress like how fast you're going in a hole in the ground full of water? That doesn't last forever. And it's a good life, so like make the most of it. And even I think the period from being 12, 13, figuring out you're solid at swimming to ending up at the Olympics, it's like at no point was I like, I want to be an Olympian and I'm counting down every minute to get there. It's like, I just love swimming and I'm going to go as hard as I can and see how far I can get. And all of a sudden I'm now at the Olympics. So even, like, all of it just absolutely flies by.
Did you ever have a plan on when you would retire? Did you have but did you have an idea by a certain age you'd think you would retire? And what did it look like?
After Rio, I probably would have said after Tokyo.
Okay.
Just because I was feeling very satisfied with swimming. Tokyo was pretty average. I was still progressing, I think, like 2019, start of 2020. COVID hit. Tokyo was awful. And then it was like, all right, what's the next thing? Well, Paris would be awesome. And moved up to the Gold Coast, like signed a lease on the house until the end of the Paris Olympics. Like the plan was always to make it through that Olympic cycle. And then I think the whole time I'm like aware of what could the next thing be, mainly because I had so much time on my hands and loved going down holes on the internet and seeing what's out there.
Yeah.
What could the side hustle be? What could whatever. So that's always like a thought bubbling away in the back of your mind. And the reality, like you could wake up and have a shoulder injury tomorrow and be done. But yeah, when I retired, I'd missed the team the year prior. And every other time I hadn't swum well, there'd been like something I could attribute it to, like a reason, or I was motivated to go and fix something. And this time when I touched the wall after missing the team, I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like I've done every possible thing I could. I've done everything anyone's ever asked of me. Moved states, lost weight, whatever. And so I sat with that for, I don't know, 8 or 9 months. And it was like, is the draw of going to the Paris Olympics strong enough to almost like override me not being 100% in? I was like 90, 95% in. Still loved it, just didn't have that like edge to compete, which I think you need. And in the end, I decided that I want to leave the sport still loving it. And if I'd pushed through, I'd probably resent it. I'd hate it. I wouldn't swim that well. It wouldn't be good for the squad or the environment that I train in. So just walk away and enjoy life and still love swimming.
We actually didn't really touch on it, but Tokyo, that whole COVID Olympics, I mean, that must have been one of the most weird, strange. You're part of history in all the wrong reasons. Like that must have just been horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. Particularly, I know everyone in Victoria hated COVID. So I don't have to go into that. But I had the longest period I've ever had out of the pool my entire career. It was 11 weeks. Before that, I'd had 2 or 3 weeks because you just almost train all year round. And so I was just losing my mind in my apartment, trying to find anything to do to stay active, put on a bit of weight, ate a lot of pastry, pretty much what everyone else did, drank a lot of wine and did Lego and drank scotch. It was just so random. And then I think the hardest thing was the uncertainty around timing and planning, because almost from the end of an Olympics, you have the next 4 years planned. We're probably going to go do that meet. We're going to do that training block there. And everything's defined as to where it fits. And then this was are the Olympics coming back? When are they coming back? When are we going to do our trials? Where's it going to be? And so you just couldn't actually plan a training block or a training phase. And I remember they announced trials. They were in Adelaide for Tokyo Olympics. And you couldn't go from Victoria to South Australia. So we had to go from Victoria to Queensland for 2 weeks to do that 2-week buffer to then go to Adelaide. And then couldn't go back to Victoria in case you got stuck, because you obviously had to leave the country. And so they were going to take us back up to Queensland. I wanted to see my wife, so I was like, we can both meet in Canberra, so let's do that for 3 nights, which defies the logic of all the borders, but anyway. And then we went up into Townsville. We did 1 training session, and then there was an outbreak, and they were scared they were going to close Townsville. And I remember getting the call being we're leaving in 20 minutes, and my roommate was having a nap. And I went and woke him. I was like, you need to pack your bag right now because we're going.
Oh, my God.
Went to Cairns, spent multiple weeks in Cairns, and then that's when we went to Tokyo. And Tokyo was... The no crowds felt like a school swimming carnival because...
Yeah. Well, at least I can say I participated in one of those.
Yeah.
So
it's similar.
I know what that's like.
I know
what
exactly what
that's
it's
like.
like.
And I relate.
You do relate. I was going to say, yeah.
There's that weird echo in a stadium when there's not enough people. And then because there weren't many people, more athletes spent time in the stands. So you really felt the presence of your teammates more than the crowd. They were doing COVID tests every day. It was just very, very strange. And then coming back, we had to do quarantine in Darwin for 2 weeks. So I think all in all, it ended up being this weird 3-month experience of living out a suitcase. Bizarre. I think I left with 1 suitcase, came back with 3. It was just crazy.
And I mean, I'm comparing that to Rio 2016. I mean,
big difference.
Party time. Do you want to jump into
Rexel?
Yeah,
I think it's time.
So we're going to jump in now to the Rexel shocking confession booth.
Our friends at Rexel, mate. Yes. They are Australia's leader, #1 electrical wholesaler with 127 stores all around the country.
Don't have to go far to find one. Are you handy with the tools, Mac, by any chance?
I built a sauna when I was living on the Gold Coast.
Wow. In
a trailer. Because we were renting, so I wanted to be able to take it anywhere. And so I found a box trailer that someone was storing motorbikes in, lined it with timber essentially, and then just put in a wood heater so you can cook anywhere.
I think he knows what he's doing.
Where is this? Because what's the fee?
It's in Melbourne, but the axles come off the bottom, so it's.
You are a handyman.
He is a handyman. Well, Mac, I've got an app for you. That's a Rexel.
Well, you didn't mention as well. Rexel are over 100 years old.
Now 100 years old, but now they've got the new rewired, re-energized Rexel app, which for Dos and I that aren't like Mac and aren't handy at all with on the tools, speaks our language using their chat box, so we can find any electrical wholesaler Australia-wide and we can get the tools we need.
Rexel, they're the place for all the Sparkies.
Yep.
So if you're a Sparky or you know a Sparky or your husband's a Sparky or you see a Sparky walking across the road, tell them Rexel, because that's where they should be shopping for all their electrical stuff.
Absolutely. Download the app now, guys. Now, we've asked Mac to step into the Rexel shocking confession booth to confess something that may be unknown to the public. It can be whatever you like. It can be a guilty pleasure, something serious, something funny, whatever you like, mate. We'd love to know what you've got for us.
I've got two for you.
Okay.
I don't know how outrageous they are, but they're food related because I love food. I eat a lot of hummus. Like I can get through a kilo of Yumi's hummus in like 2 days very comfortably.
Now, let's just break that down a little bit because I'm a fan of, well, I was a fan of Yumi's hummus, but it hurt my guts a little bit. Do you have the same issues?
Oh yeah, my wife hates it.
I was going to say, it smells like an absolute bomb site in there. Yeah.
Another, it's probably also a gut confession, is cold baked beans. I quite enjoy. I don't know if that's a normal thing.
Baked beans that make you fart. The more you
But
fart,
cold.
the better you feel. So eat baked beans for every meal. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, to say that's a unique one. Yeah, cold baked beans.
Cold baked beans straight out of the can. It's fine.
How often are we eating this?
Whenever they're in the pantry, I just.
So it's like a snack.
It's
you
like a
just
snack.
Easy
crack
snack.
it open.
Yeah.
Worth trying, do you think?
Yeah.
Didn't try the canned spaghetti either, or?
No, never really got into the canned spaghetti. I think cold baked, it's like more refreshing. It goes down a bit more easily.
SPC, if you're listening. Sponsorship.
Yeah, we have worked with them before. There you go. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. That's a very interesting food-related confession, Mac.
Do other people have more revealing confessions than that?
Yeah, we've had some revealing ones.
We've had some
We've
ones
had some
where we've had to
shockers.
go back to the good folk at Rexel and say, I hope you guys are okay with this. They often involve places like Amsterdam. We've had a couple of Amsterdam confessions. But we won't put you in that situation, mate.
Thank you.
There's some really, but we appreciate that, mate. And,
They were great.
They were great, and we're going to give you a Rexel got a present for you at the end of the show. But now it's time for the dos&d Goodie Bag, which is
This is the best bit of the show.
this is the best bit. So, Sammy, what are you going to bring in first for Mac? You're going to bring in sup. Oh, well, that's quite fitting because, well, you'll see in a minute. But Dos, you talk about sup.
Yeah, so Sup Supplements, Mac, they're leading the way in all things high performance gummies. So you're talking the L-carnitine, BCAAs, bit of creatine, pre-workout as well,
And post.
and post
Yep.
as well. So everything you need for recovery too.
Do you know what that means? Hasta?
Yes. We were told about that because we had a former athlete in here saying back in the day he would have had to send this off to the club and get it looked at. So,
Good to go.
yeah, it's good to go.
Well, now I mean, like a lot of gym goers out there, instead of having to carry around all your powders and having to chuck them in the shaker, they're all put in a little gummy that tastes as good as a lolly. I mean, I could eat them like lollies, but don't do it because
That's
that will screw your
dangerous.
gut.
That's genuinely
The
dangerous.
one in your hand, that yellow one, that's my favourite one. They're the ones.
Citrus Rush.
It's beautiful. They taste like I said, like Dos said, they're like lollies. Now, how do we get our hands on them, Dos?
Supsupplements.com, and for 30% off, use the code dos&d, supsupplements.com.
You can also find them in Coles, Woolies, and Chemist Warehouse. But again, use the code dos&d online for 30% off. Our good friends at Sup. Mac,
I'm genuinely going to smash these.
Just be careful. I'm not serious. I've smashed them. I have the same issue with the hummus, but with those. So
eat with caution.
yeah,
Does it say how many? 3 gummies. How many are you having?
at least 5.
How many did you know? How many did you eat of those ones on the weekend in one sitting? Tell the truth.
I think I had about 10.
No, tell the truth.
Yeah, I had 10.
He had more than that. He said 20. All right, what do we got next? Milkman.
Milkman. So, Milkman. They are all things male grooming, Mac. So I think in there you've got the body wash, the natural deodorant. I think a bit of beard oil as well. Oh, what's that?
Oh, that might be some hair product.
Hair product. It's got a
Gel.
nice mop of hair you've got, so that might be perfect for
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I don't know how to say that.
I can't ever say that either, but mate, that'll come in handy.
Deodorant.
Premium grooming in a natural way without the fluff. So head to milkmanaustralia.com for 20% off. Use the code dos&d. We love the discounts.
We do love the discounts, and we're both. Are you wearing the? I'm wearing
I've got the
cologne
deodorant.
Yeah, I got the cologne on today, and it smells delightful. So yeah, make sure you check that out. And as you can, if you want to look and smell, and
Wouldn't that be
like
nice
Mac?
in the showers?
3
at
in
the pool,
1
whatever.
is the most man thing ever. isn't
3
it?
in 1.
3 in 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And mate, I mean, not that would have been a perfect little thing to take to Rio, wouldn't it? Just a little,
A little travel pack.
a little travel pack. What are we bringing in next? Okay, we're bringing in Tommy's now. So this is a brand new partner of the dos&d show. So
We just heard Mac likes a little drink here and there.
Yeah,
this
this
might be good.
Mate, you would have
one.
loved this while you're doing your Lego in lockdown. This is Tommy's. Are you, now I know you're a local man, do you spend much time or have spent much time on Chapel Street by any chance?
No.
No, okay, well, probably for good reason. Other than going to a place called Freddy's, which is a beautiful pizzeria, beautiful Italian wine, pizza. But now they've launched Tommy's, which is, it's a very Italian flavour and pays homage to their heritage. And I was drinking these on the weekend and they taste absolutely delightful.
It's like a spritz. Like that's the raspberry spritz. It's like a seltzer.
It is. And these guys
Summery.
It is
summery.
summery, and they're really good blokes. So we encourage you to check out Freddy's, check out Tommy's, and of course, if you want Tommy's and a 10% discount, just use Tommy's01 online at checkout.
Wouldn't mind a couple of them on ice.
And then finally, well, not finally, second last, Russell Athletic. So, Mac, they've looked after you, mate.
goodness.
This is why...
It doesn't end.
Russell
doesn't
Athletic
end.
and Mitch Dowd. So inside there's a combination, mate. So Russell Athletic, I'm sure you know the brand, and all the listeners know the brand. Mitch Dowd is leading the way in underwear and socks. So it's bamboo. That's a classic
Ripper.
Russell Athletic, mate, for when you jump out of the pool.
That's high quality.
I think there's some track pants in there for you too, mate. And then
yeah.
Yes.
yeah, these are comfy. The bamboo jocks from
You
Mitch
never
Dowd.
have too many jocks.
Couldn't agree more with that.
Now, Mac,
And socks.
if you guys want to, and they're especially for you, that's the Australian spirit. Those
Beauty.
those jocks for you. But if you want to look like
Are
Mac,
they PJs or are they
no,
boxes?
they're boxes.
Boxes.
Those ones, I think.
Nice.
And then
Do you wear boxers under your pants? Who does that?
maybe when you sleep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then they're PJs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
boxers
Yeah,
are
exactly.
just PJs by
Yeah.
default.
I haven't worn boxes.
true.
I haven't worn boxes since primary school, I reckon. So
Yeah.
a long time ago.
So they've looked after you in there, mate. And guys, make sure you check out Mitch Dowd or Russell Athletic online. And if you use the code dos&d40, you'll get 40% off the whole order. I'm wearing the Russell Athletic hoodie at the moment. I tell you what, Dos and
I chose not to wear my Russell today because we double up a lot.
Well, I tell you what, all the boys in here have made the most of that code, haven't we? We've gone to town. My
Used it to
my
death.
whole wardrobe in winter is Russell because I got 40% off, so you guys should too. And finally, the dos&d tote bag. Dos, do you want to talk about Fleet Plant?
Oh, Fleet Plant Hire Solutions. They are our naming rights sponsor. They are... they're the best in all things earth-moving equipment, but they also love their golf. So, do you like a bit of golf, Mac?
Maybe
that's
this
a long
is a
pause.
confession.
Yeah, okay.
I've been
now that you're
avoiding
retired,
it as much as I can.
They've got a couple of little golf goodies that they've provided, which is nice. Some
Not that
balls,
I'm
some
not
tees.
grateful, but I do not play golf.
That's okay.
That's absolutely
That's
fine, mate.
That's fine.
I'm sure there'll be someone in your family that does. But yeah,
little gift.
balls, tees, gloves, and towels in there, courtesy of our good friends at Fleet Plant. But of course, we just need to say thank you to all our friends and partners. Without them, the show isn't possible. Thank you to each and every one of you. And if you are a loyal dos&d listener or viewer, support them as well because they support us and it's quality products, all of them. So
How good's this been? Could go on for another hour.
absolutely.
I know. Mac,
Do you
thanks.
want to?
Well,
what do you wanna-
what's the time? I am hungry.
Or we can crack into the beers.
yeah,
The
yeah.
crack into Tommy's and we'll get into it.
Yeah, but mate, thanks so much for taking the time and coming and just being so open and honest, mate. It's been great.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Loved it. Thank you.